Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kiam, and I help to reconnect people with their inherent source of power and creativity. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you my 3 tips for increasing productivity during quarantine. Before we begin, I want to be clear that this video is not intended to pressure you into being productive. I understand that we live in really challenging times right now, and for some people, what might be best for their mental health is to really take this time to rest and really appreciate the personal freedoms that we are able to enjoy right now. Before COVID, many of us lived our day-to-day lives following the schedules and timelines that were set for us by our jobs or school and other commitments. And very often, our energy was spent working and producing and tending to the needs and the demands of others. Capitalism does a thorough job of convincing us that our worth is tied to the output that we create. That if you're not busy, then that means you're not worthy. And I think that this is absolutely false. We are valuable on our own unconditionally. We are worthy simply for existing. With all the global drama and the daily trauma that we're bombarded with, if the best that you can do right now to stay safe and sane is to sleep in late and watch Netflix and chat with your friends on Instagram, honestly, that's enough. If that's what's giving your life meaning and purpose and giving you happiness, then that's worth it. And I'm not here to tell you otherwise or tell you to change. This video, however, is for people who do want to be more productive, who are intending to use their time more effectively, who are already working on some goals but might be having a hard time focusing throughout the day or are getting lost in distractions or losing motivation. So if this sounds like you, then stay tuned. Let's start this off with tip number 1, which is creating a morning routine. When you start your mornings doing the same set of actions, it sets a pattern that can create a cascade of events. First of all, you're beginning your day doing something that you set out to do beforehand and something that you know is going to help you. So this increases your self-efficacy, which is the ability to tell yourself, "Yay, I did it!" And doing that gives you a serotonin boost, and that serotonin boost will then inspire you to continue doing things that you intended to do. Having a morning routine can also help reduce stress. By having a set of activities that you do on a day-to-day basis set in a pattern where you can go into each action seamlessly without needing to think about it too much or second-guessing yourself, this frees up your brain to be able to focus on more complex tasks later on. Think of this as similar to having a ritual when you leave or you enter your house. If you have a specific place where you put your keys, then you won't have to spend a bunch of time looking for it or wondering where they are because you know that you always put them in the same place. Something to note is that having a morning routine does not have to mean that you get up early every morning. If you're more of a night owl and you end up sleeping in during the day, then that's totally fine. It's really more about the consistency rather than the actual time that you get up. So what does a morning routine look like? It's really going to vary person to person. But as an example, I will share with you my morning routine. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I reach for my dream journal and I jot down any notes or impressions that I remember from my dreams that night. I find that this is really helpful to track different patterns of how I'm feeling and kind of the thoughts that are getting processed in my mind while I'm asleep. And this also gives me a picture into the deeper emotions that I might be dealing with that I'm not facing on a conscious level. The next thing that I do is I make my bed. This is a signal to tell myself that this chapter is closing, I am done with sleep, I am done dreaming, and I am now moving into my day. So this allows me to begin already checking one thing off my list. The next thing I do is drink some water. Because we sleep for 5 to 6 to 8 hours or 10 hours, we are not hydrating during that time, and so our body is using up the water that we have stored, so we end up waking up dehydrated essentially, and so I like to replenish my body with water right away. After drinking water, then I move into my meditation practice. Meditation and mindfulness practice involves me sitting and breathing and just watching my thoughts. I've been a regular meditator for about 20 years now, and the myth of meditation as coming to a point of stillness where you're not thinking about anything, I think is really kind of false, and I don't feel that way when I meditate. I still have a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions come up, but what's different now is that I am able to stand back and see and feel and allow these things to come through and have them go into their proper places without being pulled into this thought or that memory or this emotion. I'm now able to just breathe and see and feel as things comes up, and then I know that they'll find their place in my mind for me to be able to deal with them later on. After doing some deep breathing and mindfulness, I sometimes move into my more spiritual type of practices, which can involve chanting mantras or repeating affirmations or deepening that mindfulness exercise and focusing on one specific idea and really going deep into that. And then when I finish with that, when I feel naturally called to come out of it, then I'll get up off my bed and walk to my desk and then transition into the next tip, which is planning my day. I currently plan my day using the self-journal. It has an hourly tracker from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. where I list my meetings, appointments, and block out time to work on specific projects. It also has a morning gratitude section, which inspires me to reflect on the things I'm thankful for, even on days when I don't feel so grateful. The second page has room to write your main goal for the day and 3 tasks you'd like to accomplish. I find this a helpful system versus trying to do 20 things in one day. The last section prompts you to reflect on your wins and lessons learned, as well as an evening gratitude. I find the self-journal an elegant manual tool, but you can also adapt the system for yourself using any digital calendar apps on your phone or tablet. I just realized that I actually have another tip. I guess we'll call this 2.5, and that's to avoid using your phone right away, basically. This is something that I try to practice on the daily, though it doesn't always happen. But I do, instead of reaching for my phone first thing in the morning, is that I wait until I've mapped out my day, and then that's when I'll pick up my phone and check social media or check my emails. And I do this on purpose to really get clear. I do this to get clear for myself first what I'm trying to accomplish in the day before I invite in the thoughts and the emotions of other people and of the world, essentially. And I found that this works for me really well, and I can tell a huge difference between the days when I pick up my phone right away and the days when I plan out my day first. Definitely, when I plan out my day first, I'm definitely much more able to stick to it. And when I pick up my phone first thing in the morning, those are usually the days when I have more of an unstructured time. In thinking of the analog of social media, I've come to realize that going on Facebook or going on Instagram is kind of like going to the market, right? You're seeing people out, you're engaging, you're having conversations, you're kind of people watching, right? And so I think of going to the market as an analog for social media. And I came to realize that I don't want to go to the market first thing in the morning. I want to first really come to stillness and come to, and plan out what I'm going to do and prioritize my time and my day by myself first before I step out and go to the market. So that's my tip 2.5. This brings us to the third and final productivity tip that I'd like to share with you, and that is the Pomodoro technique. This time management strategy was developed by Francisco Cirillo in the 1980s and is named after the tomato-shaped kitchen timer that he used. So how do you do the Pomodoro technique? It's super simple. All you need is a timer, whether a mechanical one or you can also use the one on your phone. The first thing you need to do is to choose a specific task that you want to work on undisturbed without distractions, and then you set the timer for 25 minutes. Then you start the timer and you go into the task all the way in without disturbances, without getting up and breaking your concentration, just really focusing on that one thing for those 25 minutes. When the timer goes off, you stop what you're doing wherever you are in the process and you take a 5-minute break and then repeat it again. Each 25-minute block of focused attention is called a Pomodoro. And after 4 Pomodoros, then you take a longer break, whether that's 15, 20, or 30 minutes. I've been using this technique for a little over a year now, and I find it really helpful for studying especially, but you can also use it on any task that needs 100% of your attention. What makes this technique so effective is its simplicity. You really don't need anything except that timer and your attention. It also makes a game out of completing your tasks because you're essentially racing against time, and it gives you this motivation and this internal drive to beat the clock, and that adds a little bit of fun into the work process. And as they say, time flies when you're having fun. So, if you're going to be working anyway, might as well have fun doing it. Alright, so that's it. Those are my 3 to 4 tips to increase productivity during quarantine. And again, to review, they are 1. Starting a morning routine. 2. Planning your day. 3. Delaying reaching for your phone. And 4. The Pomodoro technique. So now I have a few questions for you. Have you found this helpful? Are you already practicing some of these habits? What does your morning routine look like? Or what would you like it to be? Let me know below in the comments, and feel free to share this video with your friends and loved ones. Remember to hit like, subscribe, and press the notification bell icon to be alerted of future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram at IamKiam and at Mahal Healing Arts, where I regularly post my artwork and share resources about healing, empowerment, and creativity. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you next time. Mabuhay.